Hi there, I'm Miranda,
And I'm Parker.
and this is our Cosplay Safety video. Cosplay is not consent.
Harassment shouldn't be tolerated at all.
For cosplay is not consent, first of all, know your area. When you go to a con, if you are more provocatively dressed,
Or even if you're not.
yeah, you should always know where the people are that are kind of drinking and having more party typed areas versus the areas that are more family friendly. Because if you're going to go towards an area where people are partying a little bit more,
You just need to be aware of it.
yeah,
It's never acceptable for those things to happen, but you should be aware of where it's more susceptible so you can prepare for it and have people with you. Second thing we're going to address on Cosplay is Not Consent is just something to keep in mind while you're at convention. Hopefully you're going with people that you really want to hang out with, either relatives or your friends, and you should want to stay with them. If you ever get separated, make sure that you can find people to talk to if you're ever in an uncomfortable situation, or find a staff member. But we definitely recommend that you stay in groups because it makes you less susceptible to people that might want to be cringy.
and even if you are slightly being harassed, always walk away from that person. And even if there's no one around you that you don't know, look for someone who you think you can talk to and kind of slide in and say, hey, do you mind if I join your conversation real quick? There's someone who's harassing me a little bit, and can I just kind of stay here with you for a second until they go away? And most of the time, people are really welcoming to that because nobody wants to be harassed and nobody wants anyone else to be harassed. So most of the time, people at conventions are very, very welcoming. So just walk up to people and ask if you can join in their conversation.
It's called a cosplay community, so if you ever feel uncomfortable, find another cosplayer, whether you know their fandom, you don't know their fandom, walk up and start a conversation. If you feel uncomfortable saying that you're being harassed, just kind of get in there and say, can I have a picture with you? I don't know what you're from, tell me what you're from, I love your costume. Talk to people because the general public are pretty nice. We're going to talk about poses for a second. So it's always a good idea as a cosplayer to have a pose that requires no touching from anyone else. When I went as Loki, if I felt uncomfortable in any sort of situation and didn't want someone putting their hand around me or possible anything else, which is completely fine to feel that way, have a pose that you're comfortable with. When I was Loki, I made them stay away with my staff. It worked for the character, it made them happy as fans, and it made you stay out of an uncomfortable situation that could be easily prevented. So always think of poses that'll keep you out of those situations.
One of the poses that we do as character performers is when we have young gentlemen, especially if we're dressed as characters such as Jasmine or Ariel, you do have gentlemen that want to come and immediately put their arms around you. Now, if you're comfortable with that, that's perfectly fine. But what we do is we always say, do you mind standing like a big, strong prince? Now, the reasons that this is important is because one, they never touch you, only you touch them. And two, it makes them feel good because you're saying, you're very handsome, do you mind showing me how strong you are? And then you simply put your arm around them like this.
It looks great for pictures, and it keeps you out of an uncomfortable situation that could easily be avoided.
And you're also complimented who is in the picture with you. The next bullet point we want to point out is be aware of your costume. If you are dressed in something that shows a little bit more skin, definitely be aware of the different areas that you're going to go to. And always prepare yourself when you go into those areas. Because if you are going to go into an area where people are drinking a little bit more, then you're probably going to have more gentlemen or maybe even women come up and talk to you. Next is don't always assume that someone is 18. Just because of the way that they're dressed doesn't always mean that they're going to be of age. So be very cautious of that. You wouldn't want to ever put yourself in a situation where, first of all, you were harassing anyone, and two, where you were harassing someone who's a minor. Our last point that we want to give out is always have cards on you. This is something that we've learned is very important. First of all, it lets people know that you're a serious cosplayer. And you also get pictures back, and you can also get feedback. you also allow the photographer to be able to find you, or maybe he'll want to do more cosplay shoots with you. And I don't know about you, but I love free cosplay shoots. Those are the most fun. And photographers, always remember, if you have a card, to give it to the cosplayer as well, because I know from someone who is a cosplayer, I love seeing those pictures and I love getting those pictures back so that I can share them all over Facebook and Instagram.
When you share those pictures, remember that it's always important to give your photographer credit. Try not to crop out any watermarks or any of their logos. You know, if it's a profile picture, we get it, that happened to me earlier. But always credit them in the tag, make sure that you always put their page if they have one, and just make sure that you give credit where credit is due, because that's their art as much as making costumes is yours.
Thanks guys for tuning in with us, and keep up with us, and we have lots of new stuff coming out. We hope that these tips were really helpful for you.
And we cannot wait to see you at cons with us. Bye!
Bye!